Hello, fellow truckers, and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. We are continuing our career mode in the International Lonestar, painted in international orange. We have a triple trailer load of clothes heading from Ogden, Utah, down to St. George. It is going to be a 300 and some odd mile run. I don't know why it doesn't tell me that. I guess we could pop up the little route advisor. We got 323-mile run, 5.5 hours. That's going to be pretty close to the limit of what we typically do for our episodes here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on the road because we don't want to run out of time. Kind of cool that we picked this up from a train yard. I do need to swing out pretty wide because we have to basically make a U-turn here, and we don't want the trailers banging into anything. So let me make sure I come out pretty wide here, and then we can get out and back onto the road and make our destination here. If you're new to the series and to the channel in general, basically you're here to watch me drive and listen to me talk. That's pretty much what I do for these videos, especially for my Elite Dangerous content. That seems to be what works the best. So I do my best to hop onto here and try to find interesting things to talk about. Doesn't always work. I don't feel like this series does as well as my Elite Dangerous content. Not sure why. Probably just a bigger audience for Elite Dangerous, so I have a better chance of random people clicking onto the videos because it's Elite Dangerous related. But I'm hoping that at some point I can build a following on here on the trucking simulator. Because, you know, trucking is a relatively popular subject, and you know, obviously more people want to watch the real thing than watching some dude driving around on a video game. But I don't know. some content creators have figured out how to make it work, and I'm hoping to kind of follow in their footsteps. That would be pretty nice. So it says 5.5 hours. We've done 6+ hour runs on these videos before, but those usually end up being a little bit over 30 minutes. I try to do my videos between 20 and 30 minutes. It's kind of my preferred length for videos. It feels like that's a good range for people looking for longer form content, but not ridiculously long. So we're gonna go ahead and get out on the road here and hopefully get on the freeway. This is the third time that I've had to drive through this road because I had to go find fuel. I forgot to grab gas at the beginning of the last load. So I ended up almost running out. I had like 2 miles left by the time I dropped off my load. By the time I ended the episode, dropped off my load, and made it to a gas station. Yeah, I was 99% sure I wasn't going to make it, but somehow by being careful with making sure I was coasting for as long as I could, I was able to conserve just enough fuel to make it to the gas station without having to get a tow. So that kind of worked out. I'll try to pay a little bit more attention now that I realize that the gas gauge is the one up in the top, which, you know, that's a really stupid design. If for those of you who go and design instrument clusters, the fuel gauge is way, way, way more important than the DEF gauge. So yeah, that fuel gauge should be the biggest option up there, not the smaller one. I don't know why you would design it that way. It's a very dumb way of doing it, but whatever. I mean, seriously, that fuel gauge should be right there with the speedometer because you're ideally going to be looking at the speedometer a lot more than anything else. And knowing how much fuel you have is kind of important. But then again, I always try to leave my distance to empty over there in the middle. So it is really mostly my fault that I didn't catch it because I wasn't paying attention to the number as it was going down. So I mean, I do blame the people who designed this instrument cluster. That is a problem, but at the same time, you know, it's my own fault because I specifically put that information up into my truck so that I didn't do that, and I ended up doing it anyways. I think we all do stupid things like that. It's kind of the way we work. You try to set up safeguards to prevent yourself from doing dumb stuff, and then you end up doing dumb stuff. Not much you can do to avoid it because we're human beings and human beings make mistakes. I really should have slept before I did this run. I think most of this is going to be in the dark. But that's okay. Like I said, I'm not necessarily opposed to doing runs in the dark. It doesn't matter if we do those every once in a while, but I'm going to try to make sure I'm paying attention to that as I'm setting up loads and accepting loads and things like that to make sure that we don't end up doing stuff like that. And I do believe that the delivery for this load had, I mean, we have 20 hours, so I may decide to may decide to just do that. Sorry, I'm trying to get all of this set up. I may decide to, stop once it gets dark, so we don't have to drive in the dark. We have time. It's not like we don't have enough time to stop and rest and make sure that we're not driving in the dark and we can actually see what we're doing. So maybe we'll enjoy the sunset, and then after it gets dark, if we come across a rest stop, we'll pull over for the night, get some rest, and then pick it up in the morning. I do have the fatigue simulation turned off because it gives me a little bit more control over when I'm going to be driving for these recordings. It doesn't really add much to the channel. Like, obviously, if you're playing this on your own for real and you're trying to be as hyper-realistic as possible, it makes a difference. But for the channel purposes, you guys are only going to be here for the actual rides, so it doesn't really matter if I'm sleeping. It doesn't really matter to you when I'm sleeping or if I'm not sleeping or whatever. And then I've also turned off traffic violations, primarily because the intersections they don't work the way they should when it comes to trying to do right turns. We are allowed, for those of you who do not live in America, we are allowed to do right turns on red in America, and it's super frustrating when I'm trying to do a right turn on a red and I still end up getting a ticket because it tells me I ran the red light. One of my viewers did make a point of letting me know that it's probably because I'm not necessarily using my turn signal. I don't know that that's the case because I have used my turn signal quite a lot, and I still end up getting a ticket. But even if it is the case, I have my turn signal linked to a camera movement, so when I use my turn signal, you'll see that my camera turns over to the right, and as I'm approaching an intersection, I don't really want that on. So while I should be using my turn signals for ultimate realism, because I'm using my turn signal as a camera manipulator, I just don't. So that's the answer to that particular statement. I appreciate any advice that you guys choose to give me, and if I can use it, I absolutely will. But in this particular case, the camera is linked to my turn signals, and so my turn signals are mostly, at this point, just for giving me quick access to my mirrors when I need it. Yeah. So that is what that is. I'd love to be able to just be able to look left and look right, but when I do that, it completely removes my ability to see in front of me. I guess I need to get over here. These guys are trying to get over, and I don't need to have anybody running into me. Oh, that was the second reason I turned, but that's the other reason I turned off traffic violations, is that the AI will sometimes run into you, and that costs money when they do that. It costs me money when they do that. There's no logic in the game to determine who was at fault with an accident. So if an AI just decides to randomly shift lanes into you, or they do something that you're not expecting and they run into you in some fashion, you still get charged for that, and I'm not a fan. So yeah. A couple of reasons why I choose to run with the violations off. Frankly, for the purposes of the channel, a lot of the realism things that come with the game don't really affect you guys very much. So it doesn't really make a difference to me as to whether they're on or it shouldn't really make a difference to you guys as to whether they're on or off, and it makes life a little bit easier for me, so I don't have to deal with the substandard artificial intelligence and logic and rules and stuff that the game has in it. It shouldn't matter whether I have a turn signal on to be able to turn right on red. They should have the trigger zone for running a red light on the other side of the intersection. If I'm not crossing all the way over to the other side, then clearly I didn't run the red light. I'm making a right turn. So, I mean, realistically, they should have it set up so that if you're in the zone, I don't know, having developed a few things where I've had to figure out trigger zones and things like that, there are definitely ways to set the intersections up so that you can still make the right turn on red, regardless of whether you have your turn signal on, and not get a ticket. It is feasible to do. They have to do it. And it's not at the list. It's not at the top of their list of priorities. So I don't expect them to go back through all of the intersections in the game and be like, all right, well, let's update this so that this doesn't happen anymore. That would be a lot of work. Down to 3.5 hours already. That's good. Mostly because we're on the freeway and we're able to do 70 miles an hour. So ideally, we can get through this pretty quick. I mean, honestly though, the time in route is the time in route regardless of how fast you're going. So I guess the time in route is actually a better gauge than distance, because you never know which sections of the road are going to have the more compressed distance versus this closer to real life distance. If you're not aware, the game does not actually, if you've never seen this game before, mileage in this game is flexible. Let me put my cruise control up to 75 because apparently we can do that. So in between major congested areas, the actual distance you travel in the game covers more miles than when you're covers more miles compared to real life than when you're in a congested area where the distance you travel covers fewer miles. So let's say, I'm just going to throw out arbitrary numbers. Let's say when you're in a city area, if you drive a mile of distance, like here in what we can see, a mile of distance actually in the game, or how do I say that? I'm trying to get a concept across, and I'm not explaining it very well. So let's say we're driving a mile here based off of what we can see. The mile that we drive actually driving the truck would represent maybe 5 miles in a city, right? And then once you get outside of that city area, driving a mile from what we can see here might represent 20 or 30 miles. So every mile that we drive in the game represents, 20 or 30 miles in real life if you were actually driving this route in a real truck and trying to actually get to the destination. So the ratio of distance driven here in the game versus the mileage that you would actually cover in the real world changes depending on, what ratio they set, and it's you usually cover a lot more miles between major points of interest, and then when you get to a city or something like that, the distances are a little bit closer to what they would be in real life, but not exact. Like, it's not mile for mile. It would be nice if we could get up this hill. I know we're hauling triple trailers here, but I can't imagine the weight is that much. Oh, you know what? It's probably my sensor, the sensor on my bumper that's slowing me down because traffic is slowing down. That's not great. Down to 2.5 hours, though. 12 minutes in, 2.5 hours. I think we have enough time to just make it before we hit our 30-minute mark. Shouldn't be too bad. I have to say, though, I'm going to need to take a break after this because my voice is already starting to hurt a little bit. I'm hoping that I'm going to get to that I'm hoping that the various series that I'm doing where I'm kind of talking a lot will eventually get to the point where you guys will start leaving comments saying, hey, you should talk about this in your next episode, and you should talk about that in your next episode. Assuming we're going to stay away from, sensitive topics that anger people, but just random topics that you guys like to talk about. Feel free to leave a comment down below with suggestions for topics of conversation. I think this bus up here is slowing me down. I keep seeing the retarder on my transmission, the light for that coming on, which means that it's trying to slow me down. I'm only doing 70. I have the cruise control set for 80, and I'm still being slowed down. So I'm thinking I might need to get over into the left lane to get by these guys, and hopefully we can make a little bit better time. Because I would like to get up to 80 since it's an option. I'm curious to know how that sensor works, though, because it's clearly adjusting my speed based off of what traffic is doing in front of me, but is it able to tell if it's in... Okay, I guess I want it... I'm going to stay here. Is it able to... Is it just based off of a straight line in front of me? Like, is it just a straight-up laser that goes straight in front of me? Or is it... does it go out in an arc and it's affected by everything in all of the lanes in front of me? Or how does that work? Like, obviously, I know it's a thing in real life, and I'm sure that the real-life version probably works different from the video game version that I'm using right now, but I'd be curious to know... I'm kind of curious to know how... Oh, sorry, I was looking at the sign and wasn't paying attention to my lane keeping. I'd be curious to know how each of them works. How does it work in real life, and then how did the developers... Man, too many D's in the same sentence. How did the developers decide to implement this system in the game. Wow, I don't know why that was so difficult to say. Alright, so now that we got that big truck out of the way and we can actually drive unrestricted. Whoa, 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 whoa! What the Okay, not sure why that happened. This is not good. This is very, very not good. Okay, let me get back over here. We're gonna have to probably damage some stuff. Ooh. What the heck happened there? Well, okay. I'm not sure why that happened. Well, the irritating thing is I have traction control turned on, so that's not the first time I've had this truck kind of spin out. Truck limit, route advisor speed warning, heavy cargo warning, truck settings, transmission automatic, smart, steering auto center. I don't. All my stabilities are turned all the way up. Yeah, I don't know. Turn the rain sensor on, because why not? Yeah, traction control is turned on. Yeah, I don't know. If you know why that happens sometimes, is it a problem with the way they modeled this truck? Because I haven't had this problem in other playthroughs before, where the truck just spins out randomly like that. That was weird. And it's not the first time either. Like, it's not the first time it's happened in this series that I've been doing for YouTube. I don't remember if it happened in the other truck. Maybe it's this truck. Maybe this truck just has a thing where it spins out really easy. Doesn't make any sense to me. Obviously, it only happens when the cruise control is on, but, I mean, I don't understand why I would be spinning out on flat roads at highway speeds on turns that aren't that sharp. So that was weird. That was very weird. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. Beehive State. I just got an achievement somewhere. I don't know if that was a Steam... No, Steam achievements show up in the bottom right, so I think that was a profile achievement. Alright, drop down to 75 to go through here. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with that. Leave me a comment if you know what the deal is with the truck just randomly spinning out like that. I mean, I know we were going around a turn, but I wasn't turning that hard, and we weren't... I know we're doing 80 miles an hour, but it was a pretty shallow turn. I could understand if we were, like, going... I've gone back to saying like again because I'm all flustered. I could understand if we were in the back roads going through all those twisty turns and stuff. And I have to imagine it's that it's the retarder that's doing that. Maybe I need to... Can I turn that off? Is there an automatic retarder option? Maybe I can just turn that off. Automatic retarder. So let's do that, because honestly... Okay, so hopefully that'll stop doing that now. Because I feel like it might be the retarder might be slow. It's still turning on. Yeah, it's still turning on. Okay. So... I gotta think about that for a second, because I want to have access to the retarder, and I only have so many buttons available to adjust things like... I gotta think about that for a second. I gotta decide. I need to assign an easy-to-remember keybind to actually toggle the retarder on and off, because I don't want it just turning on like that randomly, and all of a sudden I spin out. I'm pretty sure that's what's causing it. I'm pretty sure it's the retarder applying braking force or slow down force at exactly the wrong time while I'm in the middle of a turn, and then it just spins me out. And it's applying, and even though I have the setting for the retarder turned down all the way, it's still just, yanking my tires loose. All Alright, well, we are in the nighttime here, and we only have 30 minutes, though, so I may just go ahead and finish this load. We had a nice little sunset there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just finish this load, and then I can sleep in between episodes. I think that's what we'll do. I'll try to remember after I say goodbye to you guys to go find a place to sleep, advance the time to the morning, and then, because it's 9:14 now, by the time we're done with this, it'll be closer to 10 o'clock, and then a 10-hour rest would put us in the morning at like 8, something like that. So I think that's a good way to go. So we're going to St. George. We are 15 minutes away. 15 minutes of game time. Ooh, that was some heavy graphical lag there. Not sure why. It's all dark and everything. It shouldn't be rendering too much in front of us. Okay. Turning off the cruise control for now because we're getting some sharper turns and I don't need the retarder yanking me off my controls again. So we'll do the rest of this manually, and then hopefully I'll try to remember to go find a place to rest and then find a place to be able to easily toggle the retarder on and off. I may need to give up my horn on my wheel here, my flight yoke here. For those of you who haven't been following the series, I do use my flight yoke for my flight simulator to drive this because I don't have a steering wheel. Yeah, I'm not sure what a good option for that is. A modifier key, maybe. Maybe I'll do a modifier key. Yeah, I'll have to play around with the controls and see what makes the most sense to set all of this up, because I need to be able to have control of what's happening with the engine and the transmission and all of that. And the way that this is yanking me around the way it has been, I think I need to go around this way. Yeah. The way it's been yanking me around is, yeah, we can't have that happening. If it happens in the wrong spot at the wrong time, we could completely flip over and trash the truck all the way, and we don't need that happening. So, yeah, let's get this load dropped off, and then I'll. Ooh, okay. So we are going this way. We swing it out wide, so we have the best chance of our trailers clearing. I think we're okay there. And then we'll get ourselves around the thing here and get this parked. Fortunately, we don't have to back anything in, so I just need to get lined up and we'll be all set. So now the question is, where is the load drop? Okay, so it's going to be right here. It should be relatively easy to get this load lined up. Just trying to make sure they're not going to hit. Get everything lined up here, and ideally we'll be good. All right, waiting for that little green symbol to appear. Waiting for it to turn green. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. All right, so hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click that like button so the YouTube algorithm knows that you did and sends the video out to more viewers. The more viewers we have along for these rides, the more fun they're going to be, the more conversation we can have. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your video feed and you'll be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members do get early access to all of my videos, so be sure to click that join button below and check out the list of tiers that are available. Different tiers provide different benefits, and you can pick the one that's right for you and help support me as a content creator. Again, thank you very much for your time. Hope you had lots of fun, and I'll see you for the next one.